This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, Episode 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to have a very special guest here who knows all about the megabits and the RAMs and the motherboards.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host, who has Ninja Turtle pajama pants and coffee mugs, Clay Trader.
Yes, you heard that right. I love the Ninja Turtles. I've always loved the Ninja Turtles and still will love the Ninja Turtles. In fact, a good little story about that, one of which I'm very proud of, is a while ago, my daughter was with my wife at, I think, Target or something, and she had a choice of, do you want like this princess little water bottle type thing, or do you want a Ninja Turtles one? And her answer was Turtle Power. So she chose the Turtle Power water bottle, and that made me very proud as a father, although now she's kind of moved on to Frozen. So Frozen stuff gets the nod over Ninja Turtle stuff. But yes, I have, in fact, this was not intentional, but I am wearing my Ninja Turtle pajama pants right now. But that's a good thing about trading is you can kind of make up the dress code as you go. And my dress code for today is I'm going to wear Ninja Turtle pajama pants. So, Ches, you here?
Dumb and Dumber. Is that the answer to the question?
No, that was episode 2. We're on episode 3 now. For those of you that are not aware, that's our apparently uninformed co-host Ches. Again, if you want to hear his backstory as a trader, that would be episode 1 of the podcast, so you can listen to that. But today we're going to kind of geek out a little bit and talk about trading systems, trading computers, and ones that we would use as traders. I'm not talking about the computers that are high frequency trading or anything like that. It's one of those topics where I figured it'd probably be smarter to do it sooner than later, just because we do have a couple blog articles on the site, and those ones always seem pretty popular. So I think it's a topic where a lot of people are kind of curious. I think a lot of people are like me in terms of you know computers, but what would actually make a good one for trading? That's a whole nother question. And me personally, I really don't know much about. I know technology, but as far as kind of the nitty gritty stuff, and as far as computers, I didn't do anything with my own. I had somebody build my own, and that's actually who is our guest today. Nate is as he goes by, and he is the person that built it, and he's also the IT/internet guy of claytrader.com. So he is one of the staff people here. So I figured, we should bring him on, pick his brain about tech stuff. And Ches, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're pretty good with this tech stuff too, aren't you?
I am. I actually, the first exposure to a computer I had, I think I was like 6 years old. My dad brought home 2, and he put them in my room, and he said, you pick which one is better. So, yep, right from, the time I was old enough and, 1440 or 14.4 internet existed was when I've been on a computer.
Were they the Macintoshes, or which one was better?
Maybe this was Windows 3.2. Windows 3.2, the fun times.
Was that before Windows 95?
It was before Windows 95.
Wow, that's a long time ago, and that's some old school stuff. But before we get into that stuff though, a big topic here that kind of revolves around this is, if you're new to trading or maybe you're trying to step it up, it's kind of a slippery slope, because you have to consider, all right, I have limited money in my trading capital, but I want to make sure that I get a computer that helps me get the job done, because one way to look at it is, well, if you really skimp out on the technology, don't invest anything into your tools that you would use, then that money that you're saving in your account is probably going to disappear pretty fast. However, at the opposite end of the spectrum, it's probably not necessary to go and take 75% of the money you have saved up and go spend it on some super high rig computer. So, we're going to try to walk that fine line. And Ches, what, you got in the markets about a year ago. How did you kind of approach that situation?
So I was primarily a PC gamer for pretty much all of my childhood, into college, into pretty much until I discovered trading. So, gaming PCs or gaming laptops are really going to kind of transition over well as far as the horsepower you need, to be functional for, charts in your trading platform. So it wasn't too bad on that front. I obviously had to do a few things to kind of clean up the junk I did have, just because I wanted it to, run as smooth as it could. But yeah, regarding that, the transition was pretty easy because I already had a pretty beefy computer. All of this kind of technology stuff was a hobby for me for years. I always, any kind of spare money I had, I was always looking for the latest part or, the fastest, video card or RAM or thing like that. So it wasn't too difficult for me to transition, but I completely understand. And, it is a common question that we do get from a lot of people who, might not be, a PC gamer specifically. It's not that big of a group of people. So, this podcast is really going to kind of help those out, and Nate's obviously the most knowledgeable guy because he was able to build you a computer, and you're able to trade for a living. So I think we're going to do just fine.
And the computer is only broken down like 15 times, so he's got a real good track record. So,
yes, he does.
So actually, let's just bring this guy in. I mean, we've really built up Nate. We've talked a lot of good things about him. So Nate, are you here?
I am here. I'm a little disappointed I don't have a fancy nickname like you guys, but
I guess want one?
I guess I don't think so. Not if you're going to make it up.
I'll gladly give you one. I'm not no promises that you like it. So
maybe we'll put that out there to our listeners that they should give us some suggestions in the comments for what we should call Nate from now on. We're going to think of a fun one for you.
That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, if you want to, post on Twitter with the hashtag Stock Trading Reality Podcast, and give us some names. That'd be kind of curious. Maybe we'll get him to change it to it. In the chat room whenever he shows up, whenever he enlightens us with his presence.
I am there so often, especially when people have tech problems. That's the only time I show up.
Which is not very often, to give you some credit. All right, Nate, let's hop in. So, if you don't think this is a good start or spot to start, let me know. But I'm thinking we start with just the processor and motherboard. So, why don't you explain what?
We could totally do that. I have a question about, because you asked Ches what he started out with. What did you start out with, not being a technology guy in your first computer?
Hey,
where did you go?
Hey, I'm doing the no.
Yeah, and I'm flipping it around on you.
That's a good question. What did I start off with? I started back in college. One monitor. What was that? XP maybe? What was before XP?
Probably. Yeah, that was Vista. No, ME or 98.
ME. I think it was. I don't remember.
XP was around for a long time.
Yeah, it's probably XP.
Maybe it was XP. Yeah, that's what I started. XP, one monitor. I want to say it was an HP, but I don't know if it was an H. That may be a lie. I can't remember. So see what happens when you caught me off guard. I have no idea. But it got the job done a little bit, and then kind of a backstory. Then I was trading with something else. I don't remember. But then Nate, was over one day, and he saw my computer and was like, "We got to upgrade that." So I said, "Well, show me what you got." And he did. But yeah, so I think I'm almost a little bit in the dark ages in terms of, or I should say, which really kind of goes to show you don't need to go, overboard. You don't need to go and grab your kids' college tuition money and say, "Sorry, kids, can't go to college now. I just built this ultra super computer." That's way overboard. So, but good question. Good question. So processor motherboards, Nate. I have no idea what that is. Can you enlighten me and Ches?
Processor motherboard is basically going to be your main heart, soul of your computer. The motherboard is basically what lets you connect all of your components together. That's what's going to give you your expandability and kind of give you your base, your system, and you build off of that. If you buy one at Best Buy or anything off the shelf, they're just going to give you a motherboard, whatever they pick. It's not going to really be a big deal. But if you're reading blog posts or that kind of stuff, they're going to refer you to different motherboards. And if you're going to build it yourself, you're going to have to choose your motherboard and match your processor to that.
Yeah, so that's something I really wanted to stress as well, especially if you are going to go the route of building it yourself, is that you guys got to remember certain motherboards are only going to work with certain processors, exactly like Nate said. So, some of them have, you're going to have to do a little bit of homework, but at the same time, it's nothing, it's not like hard to find information or anything like that. It's all generally, most of the time you can find what processor socket it needs for it right in the title of the motherboard. But yeah, these are just kind of things to keep in mind. But yeah, the motherboard is definitely kind of your base, exactly where you're starting. Now, I guess so on top of the motherboard selection, you kind of pick what is there anything specifically you really need for a trading computer aside, besides being able to have a fast enough processor?
Really, if you're going the build it yourself route, looking to pick out your own motherboard. You're really going to be looking for a motherboard that supports multiple video cards. That's a problem with a lot of the off-the-shelf computers that you get from a Best Buy or whoever else you may have around. is that you are going to be only having the option to add one more video card, which is fine if you only want to run 2 monitors, but down the road, if you want to add in another monitor, a third or a fourth or a fifth or a sixth, then you're going to have more video card expansion slots.
All right, Nate, so let's assume that somebody is just getting started, just in the market of looking for a computer. What sorts of things should they be looking for, especially if they have those goals and visions of expanding down the road?
The question I ask most people, because I get emails all the time from people on the site asking me, hey, is this computer good, or what should I be looking for? The question I always ask them directly is, how many monitors do you plan on running? If you're looking to run 1 or 2, your options are a lot bigger than if you're looking to run 4 to 5 to 20. Then you're going to be looking at a lot more specific specialty type gaming computer, or needing multiple video ports or cards or whatnot. So it's really, if you know how many monitors you want to run down the road, then that's really going to be your starting point, and you can build off of that.
All right, well, let me ask this, though, real quick. If I put myself in somebody's shoes that's just getting into trading, or maybe wants to step it up, I have no idea how many monitors I'm going to run. So would it be fair to say plan on the high side of monitors then?
I would say that's probably a fair side. If you have it available in your budget to spend a little more money and get yourself a little more positioned for the future, I would say plan on the high side of, I may want to add more than 3 monitors down the road. But if you're looking to kind of buy something a little cheaper right off the bat, you can trade with 2, get 2 nice big 27-inch monitors, high resolution. You could trade with that. Obviously, I'm not a trader, but from what I've seen of you guys trading and stuff, 2 monitors would be adequate if you really needed to. And there's other options other than adding more video cards to put in more monitors if you needed to as well. Hooking them up via USB or something like that, you can add 3 or 4 more monitors to a regular machine.
Yeah, I probably should have started with this, but Ches, how many monitors do you use?
I'm currently running 4, but it's actually a perfect timing for that. Is that I actually never had planned to use this computer for trading. Obviously, I didn't discover trading when I built the computer, but at the same time, I could comfortably, pretty much with just about almost any video card you get, especially if you're just going to be a new trader. Like Nate said, you can completely function off of 2 monitors. We have tons of veteran traders who just function off of 2 monitors, but I actually had to add a second graphics card because unfortunately mine only supported 3. So once I wanted to make the jump to 4, now I can add even more if I needed to. I'm kind of prepared to go to 6 monitors if I wanted, but I had to leave room for that expansion. So that kind of ties into your planning in the first place.
Yeah, and to feed off that, to be honest, I use 2 monitors for trading. They're 20. Are they 22-inch or 24, Nate?
24s.
Okay, I have 2 24-inchers that I use. Now, I have 4 that are part of the system, but the other 2 are more for the business aspects. So I have, the social media opened, I have the chat room open, I have the email open. So it definitely makes my life, more efficient. But like I said, you definitely don't need, 15 monitors. Like I said, if I had more than probably the 2 that I have, I always found myself getting distracted. My eyes can only look at so much, and really I'd cause, paralysis by analysis in a lot of cases. So Ches makes a great point there. 1, I personally think 1's maybe a little too less. I think 2 is kind of the sweet spot, especially if you're getting started. But that's kind of, a good little starting spot there. So let's kind of move into memory, because it sounds like this is probably going to play a pretty important role in, as far as the processor and all these monitors and stuff.
Yep, definitely. Memory is awesome in that it's really cheap and it's really easy to add more to it. If you're starting off trading with probably 1 or 2 monitors, 8 gig of RAM is probably going to be more than adequate for you. But the awesome part is if in a year you want to add more, you just go online to good old Amazon.com or wherever you buy computer parts from and say, I want another 8 gig of RAM, or I want to add 16 gig of RAM, whatever it takes. You can easily add that for another $100 or so to your machine, and that's something you really don't have to plan for in the future. You can basically just buy it as you need it and kind of just go from there.
And yeah, so that pretty much ties exactly into my experience. My computer, when I first built it, 8 gigs of RAM was huge at the time, but I had enough room. Just like Nate said, you can always expand. I'm actually up to 24 gigs of RAM now. Is it completely overkill? 100%. There is no arguing about that. But like he said, it was just a quick trip on Amazon when I wanted to upgrade it because I needed it for different things at the time. So that's definitely something. But yeah, 8 is for sure more than enough to kind of get started, especially if you're on 1 or 2 monitors.
Let me ask this real quick. From like I said, from an outsider looking in, that's not totally. Nate made the comment. When you need it. Well, are there any signs that are going to let you know when you need it? Is a window going to pop up on your computer saying, hey, buddy, you need more memory? How does that work for the novice like myself? Is there any sort of, signs?
There's programs and stuff built into your Windows and stuff that you can pull up that'll tell you what percentage of memory you're using. If you're using a high percentage, obviously you're going to want to go out and get more. But you're also just going to notice programs that are going to start opening up slower as you get more of them open, and things are going to be a little laggy as you're using them. And that's usually a pretty good sign that you're going to need more RAM.
So don't necessarily look at the number of, because you say a high percentage. What's a high percentage? 80, 90? I think the best way to probably look at it, like you said, is just if your computer starts acting slower, then it's probably a memory problem. Is that fair?
Yeah, if it's starting to act slow, the more windows you open, the more slow things you have going on, or the slower it seems, then yeah, you're definitely probably looking at a memory issue.
Yeah, so if especially if you're running 2 monitors and you have 16 charts open, you might start actually feeling that if you try to type in a new ticker or something and it's really delayed and slow and things are just updating very slowly, without even looking at that performance information, it's probably time to kind of upgrade your RAM because those programs are generally taxing on that. But obviously, being traders, we have to look at the screens, and we already kind of touched on the importance of that. Video cards. What particular video cards are you recommending for folks, let's say, who want to start with just 2 screens, but be able to expand from there? What would you recommend as a baseline?
Right. So far, for what we've been recommending or what Clay's been running, I typically recommend the professional line of graphics cards from NVIDIA or ATI. They cost a little bit more money up the bat, but they're a lot more geared towards long-term running all day, every day. They run quieter, they run cooler. They don't have massive fans on them and keeping it hot. And they got nice video port options, all that fun stuff. So typically those, I think the ones Clay's running, he's got 2 of them. I think they're about $100 a piece, so he can run 4 monitors. Pretty straightforward. They're just NVIDIA NView monitors or NForce monitors or some video cards, something like that. So you don't need anything too overkill for running this type of stuff, but those professional grade video cards are really designed for doing exactly this thing, and not necessarily a high res gaming type of thing, but lots of different things going on at the same time. So yeah, just a pretty decent, maybe 512 1 gig video card with a couple ports on it is really all you're going to need.
Yeah, and I can, completely get on board with that because I have, like I said, I come from a PC gaming background. It wasn't uncommon for me to have a $350 video card or, somewhere around that realm. And it is completely, and I promise you this, it is completely unnecessary for just doing stock trading. So if you're building your computer just for stock trading, these about $100 cards, 512 or a gig are going to be more than enough. And obviously with your motherboard, you have more than one slot if you did want to add more. Is that correct, Nate?
Yeah. That if you're going to build your own machine, you're pretty much guaranteed to have more than one slot. That is the question that I get a lot from people. Hey, should I buy this one online? It's on sale right now. A lot of the times those only have one slot, so then you're a little more streamlined or limited as to what you can add down the road. But if you're building your own from scratch or buying your own stuff and assembling yourself, then you're probably most likely going to have at least 2 slots on it.
All right, I got a question here just because it kind of dawned on me. You brought up a $100 price tag. So is it fair to say, and I'm just going to throw the date out here, so it's April 2015. If somebody's listening to this, let's say 1 year from now, the great thing about technology is obviously as time goes by, prices start to go down on things. Are we at the point where if somebody's watching this a year from now, they don't need to go out and buy a $100 video card, right? Because that same video card should be available for less, right? So are we at the point in kind of, Ches, and you can definitely comment on this too. Would you say that we're at the point in terms of, the trading age where technology has kind of far surpassed things? So it's not like you have to continue to pay high dollar for things. Prices have come down and they're going to continue to come down. So like I said, a year from now, if you're watching or listening to this, you don't have to go out and look for a $100 video card. That same quality technology should be available for much less. Is that pretty accurate, fellas?
I would say that's accurate to an extent, although those video cards that you have in there are already a year or two old. They're not cutting edge, so they're probably still going to be $100 down the road. I would say if you're going to spend less than $100 on a video card, it's probably not going to be a very high quality card. So at this point, basically at the rate that technology increases, I'm sure the brokers are going to make all their systems more graphics intense because, hey, we have the room in most systems to do it. Why not? So I would say $100 is probably a pretty fair price, whether it's now or 2 years from now or 2 years ago. $100 for a decent enterprise class video card like that'll run 2 monitors is probably going to be about where it's going to be at.
So would you agree with that, Ches, in terms of from a trader's perspective and one that, is very familiar with technology? Can you see brokers just requiring, higher and higher technology from us as consumers?
So remember, I come from kind of the game development side of things, and what they actually used to do is they would kind of survey the machines that computers were on. And here in the United States, we have a lot of discretionary income where we can buy the latest tech products, but that not everybody has that luxury. So I would say that as the standard across the globe increases, there's no reason for the brokers not to kind of use this new average. Like we said, it's getting cheaper and cheaper, and base computers that you could buy at a Best Buy or a Sam's Club or a Costco, they're all drastically more powerful than they were 5-10 years ago. So yeah, I think the brokers are going to look at that and say, we can add more bells and whistles, and to them that just means more sales, more clients. So yeah, it would not surprise me at all if they start making it more kind of intense as the years go on.
So it is fair then to say that, even if you're listening to this podcast, a year from now, you're still, like Nate was saying, going to have to go out and probably spend at least $100 on a video card for that very reason, because, they're going to keep on requiring more and more from us. So that's actually super interesting. I assume the exact opposite on that. Yeah, that was a nice little learning experience there. So Nate, let's move on to the next topic here. And, hard drives, you hear hard drives all the time. And I think I know what that is, but where does hard drive fit into the the world of somebody that wants to get into trading?
Right, yeah. Hard drive in terms of trading is really not crucial at all in terms of size. You're really way more worried about the speed of the hard drive when it comes to trading, because you're not storing anything on your machine, and that's what the hard drive does. Is if I got lots of movies on my computer or videos or pictures or whatever, that's where the hard drives comes into play. But given that in trading, you're really just saving nothing on your machine. It's all coming in over the internet. You really just want fast so that your programs launch fast and all that kind of stuff. So you're really looking for a decent solid state hard drive is what they call it. Those are going to be your fastest. 128 gig to 256 gig is going to be more than enough size. And I actually just bought one of those not that long ago. I think they're like $150 for a decent one of those. So definitely look towards the SSD line of hard drives, whether you're buying a pre-built one or building one yourself. But the SSD is just going to give you the speed that you need versus just random extra storage space that you're never going to use.
Okay, so because this is the one little thing. SSD is just one type. You could, people shouldn't assume that what they're buying is an SSD, right? Because they could end up getting another type of hard drive, right? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, there are solid state hard drives, which are the SSD, and there's hard disk drives, which are the old school type. Typically, if you're looking at something that's going to be 500 to 1 terabyte worth of size, you're looking at a hard drive, which is the old school type. They're just big and slow. Whereas the SSDs are going to have funny numbers. They're not going to be nice and even. They're going to be like 128 or 256 or 512. They're not going to be 500 or 250. They're going to be a weird number like that. So it's kind of a good way to differentiate between which one's which, though. The ones with the weird endings on them are going to be the faster drives.
So yeah, you guys will definitely notice when you're kind of building this yourself or kind of purchasing something, it will say SSD. So if it does say SSD, that's the type you're looking for. And like Nate said, those come in the different sizes. They're not kind of what you're used to. If it says HDD, that's the older, slower ones. Generally, they make those larger in size because people aren't, they're not there for the speed. They're there for the storage. But I can certainly touch on the fact that having an SSD is great, especially if, say, your computer hangs up and you need to restart quickly. An SSD will start up so much faster than a hard drive. So that's going to really help you out.
Yeah, and if you've never traded before, we laugh just because I've been there before, where you're in the middle of a trade, you get the blue screen of death, and you're thinking, oh crap, and then you're just sitting there looking at your watch. I wish this thing would start back up, and sometimes it works out for the better because it keeps you in. And hey, look, I'm in the green. And unfortunately, sometimes I've had it where you're by the time the thing finally reboots and all that, you're looking at a red position. So that's actually a super good point just from that alone. But also, before I forget, Ches, what's your feelings in terms of a backup power supply? Because on my computer, I have a battery backup where if the power goes out, my computer stays on for like another 30 minutes. So do you have one of those, Ches? And, what do you think about that in terms of, keeping it a part of your trading station?
I think that's vastly important, especially because if you can run, your internet connection, whether it's your modem and your router and your computer on that, generally, if the power goes out in your place, the internet's still fine for the most part. So if you can keep those things connected, you'll know that the power went out, but your computer and your internet connection will still be there. You have time to close your positions and kind of, take steps to, prevent, coming back to a red trade. Now, myself, I do not have that. I'm going to have to ask my boss for a raise, and then maybe I'll be able to buy one, but maybe Santa Claus will be good to me this year. But yeah, that's actually something pretty high on my list of things I do need to purchase because I've been living in Southern California. I am not new when it comes to rolling blackouts for no reason at all. So yeah, I could definitely benefit from one of those, and it's on my list of things to get this year.
And so as far as on that, I haven't done any research, but do they make, because most people don't have their modems and their routers in the same room as their computers. Does anybody know, do they make little tiny ones that you can plug your modem and your router into? Have you guys done any of that research or looked at any of that kind of stuff up?
I wouldn't doubt that, but I have an entire battle station here, so all my stuff is kind of right in the same area. But yeah, like you said, I know a lot of people kind of have their routers and modems in other places. I wouldn't doubt if the technology is there now to kind of have them in a much more kind of space convenient size, so you could kind of keep that stuff up. But yeah, right. Generally, if the power goes out, your internet connection is most likely fine, but if you can't power your modem and your router, you're out of luck.
And if anybody is interested in for what I have, if you just go to claytrader.com/resources and then go down to the miscellaneous section, there is under the little technology point there, I do talk about what I personally use for the backup computer. So you can check that out there. Actually, I take that back. It's under the comfort section. And I put it in the comfort section because it truly is a peace of mind in terms of sitting there. Because back in the day, if it was thunderstorming out, sorry, Clay, you're not trading today because I can't risk anything. But now, if it's thunderstorming out, if there's a tornado going by, you probably don't get out there those in Southern California, do you, Ches? No tornadoes?
No, we just have earthquakes, so I have to make sure my computer's attached to the ground.
Yeah, so I mean, really for me, tornado, hurricane off of Lake Michigan, any of that stuff doesn't really bother me because I got my power backup. So again, claytrader.com/resources, and you can check out where that is, and that's going to be underneath the comfort section of miscellaneous.
All right, so then kind of coming on to the last parts of the hardware for a trading computer, obviously we're going to need to be able to power all these parts that we were kind of talking about. What would you say is a good kind of minimum place to start?
In terms of looking for like a power supply, that type of thing, that where you're looking at?
Yeah. So what would be like a minimum amount you would probably recommend for people? Maybe give them a little bit of a buffer if they did need to expand to, say, another video card, so they just had a little bit of extra power in case they needed it.
Yeah, I think the great thing is a lot of people are going to build their own. They're going to buy a case that's got a power supply in it. Most of the time, those are going to be adequate. But really, you just got to match up your power supply with your motherboard and the video cards you want to use. Some of the gaming video cards require extra power because they're so huge and have massive fans and stuff on them. But if you go with the professional line of stuff, like I said, they're smaller, cooler. They don't need that extra power. So that's something you don't really have to worry about then if you go that route with a power supply. Typically in my machines, I don't put anything less than a 500 or 600 watt power supply in there. But that might be overkill for some people as well. If you're just going to do one hard drive and one video card, 500 or 600 watts may be too much. But yeah, something along those lines. Just make sure you have all the ports you need to power all of your different devices. But if you just go with the basic machine, you don't have a lot of special needs.
All right, now I have a question as a complete amateur to this stuff. You said match up. You want to make sure all these things match up. How do you match up things? Is there like code numbers, or is there, how does that work?
Sometimes that's easier said than done. A lot of the websites will give you the specs on, okay, here's my motherboard. This is the power connection you need for it. The pretty standard one now is 2 port connections for a motherboard. Is a 24 pin and then 8 pin to go along with it. And that's pretty much the default. And if you buy any decent to higher end power supply, it's going to have all those connections on it anyway. So that's typically not an issue. But yeah, just make sure, go through the specs, look at the details. It's not too difficult. It's pretty straightforward. Just make sure you got all the ports and therefore power connections on the power supply to match up with them.
Yeah, any of the ones you're going to buy nowadays, for sure, definitely kind of have that default, the 24 and the 8. So those are the big ones to kind of power the motherboard, which is almost, the backbone of your entire computer. But yeah, like I said, in those specialty ones, like I have one for gaming, it kind of gives me options where I can have either a 4 pin or a 6 pin or an 8 pin. It kind of has very, there's differences and you can use it. It's more flexible. But yeah, pretty much any of these default ones nowadays they're all kind of, that's a nice thing about it. It's almost universal in that sense as far as how you need to power it. And I guess the last thing we need to do is obviously run this computer now. So what particular operating system are you recommending now as far as having the stability to kind of run trading platforms on a daily basis?
Based on the intro, I think it's Windows 3.2. Is that what we decided early on today here?
That's what my dad gave me a choice of, Windows 3.2 or Windows 3.2, and I went with Windows 3.2. It runs great.
You can't go wrong.
That's what I would recommend. 3.2.
I mean, really just go with whatever you're comfortable with. As long as it's a modern OS, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 when that comes out here in a few months, Mac OS if you prefer that. I'm guessing Linux probably doesn't have a whole lot of support in the trading world, so you'd probably stay away from that, especially if you're building your own machine. Chez has had lots of fun with drivers and getting video cards and stuff to work in Linux, so maybe that's not your best option. But I'm always one for the latest and greatest. I have Windows 10 running on my machine right now, so I would say go with Windows 7, Windows 8, just a decent operating system that's current, and go from there.
So as long as it's current and you can stand the thing and it doesn't make you want to throw stuff against the wall, then you're good to go. Is that a fair assessment?
Exactly. Yep.
Another thing that I know a lot of people have out there are just laptops or, what have you, a tablet, and they're thinking, well, can I somehow extend this and have more monitors included within, a system such as a laptop or a tablet? And there are actually some, available opportunities out there. So why don't you get into some of those, Nate?
Yeah, there's with laptops and tablets and stuff, there are lots of options, and a lot of them will vary based on what computer you have or what model you have. You're best off if you have like an enterprise class tablet or laptop that's dockable. Those are great because they're basically designed for exactly this situation of using your computer, your portable computer at a desk with lots of monitors and keyboards and that kind of stuff hooked up. So that stuff is great if you have that option. If you have a normal laptop that everybody else in the world has and it's not dockable, there are lots of options ranging from free to lots of money depending on what you want to do. You can do something as simple as having two computers sitting next to each other and just connecting your keyboard and mouse across them both. There's options to add in an external dock that would allow you to add 2 or 3 or however many more monitors you want. Or if you want to go way over the kill and add like 10 monitors to your laptop, you can totally do that too if you're willing to pay for it. So there's a pretty wide range of things you can do with your laptop if that's how you want to trade, to add another 1 or 2 more monitors or 10 or 15 more monitors.
So USB is obviously something that's been around for a long time, and I feel like the USB monitors are actually getting a lot more popular, especially for those with laptops or have to travel. I'm actually looking to kind of get one as well, just because if say I'm traveling somewhere and still want to be able to trade, it's nice to be able to carry a second monitor. It's much easier, in my opinion, just like Clay said before, to trade on 2 monitors versus 1. I really do think it will benefit you without being overkill. So would you recommend, would you think a USB monitor would be maybe greater than something like a DisplayPort splitter for something like that? Somebody who's just, trading on the go?
Yeah, if you want to be able to move around and travel a lot, that's definitely the way to go. Those are designed to be portable. They quite often run either off the USB ports on your computer to just power them, or an external power supply. So if you want to be portable and trade on the beaches of Florida or go down to Costa Rica and trade off a catamaran or whatever you want to trade off of, that's definitely the way to go to be portable. If you're looking to set up a trading station at your desk that's not moving with a laptop, that may not be your best option. You may be better off looking at a DisplayPort splitter or something like that at that point. So it's really about how portable you want to be. I guess along with that, instead of a USB monitor, if you also have a tablet, say you have an iPad or something like that, there are also options to use your tablet as another monitor as well.
Right, and that kind of also ties into the fact that if you have just 2 computers that you're using and you can set up side by side, there are various pieces of software. So you have things like Mouse Without Borders, and I think there's actually some new ones now in the Windows App Store. So have you used those at all? I haven't actually used those, but I know a few traders in the inner circle have actually done that, and they've had no problem using 2 split computers to do their trading, whether it's charting on one and executing on another, or chatting on one and executing on another.
Yeah, you hit basically the only caveat or the problem of that there is that you can't do everything on all machines. You are limited to, okay, I can't drag this window over to that monitor because it's actually a different computer. But in terms of actual functionality of those softwares, I've had no problems. I've used them before. In my current corporate job, I had a corporate computer and my personal computer, and I'd have them set up next to each other, and I would do the same thing and use the same mouse and keyboard across them, and that worked great over the wireless network or wired network, whatever you have. And I had no problems with those.
So
and
yeah, obviously
that's the best part.
Yeah, it's free is always good. But yeah, so we actually, there's a lot of information. There's actually a lot of choices for traders out there because everyone's going to have their own unique situation. In the show notes for this, we will have kind of the links for the articles that goes into much more depth on these. It's just going to be claytrader.com/podcast, and you'll find that in the show notes for this one, which is episode 3.
Yeah, because I don't know about you guys, but my mind was a little behind the ball on trying to understand all that stuff. But yeah, I'm staring at the blog article right now, and I think that would definitely be the best way, especially if somebody's listening to this and driving or running on the treadmill or something. Just go to those show notes and you can find the links to that. And finally, just a random question. Is there any sort of technology as far as mobile phones? And I know a lot of people are asking me about, probably ask Nate and Ches about, I need to be able to trade from my phone. Is there anything you can do to enhance that experience, or is that kind of, it is what it is based off of, your phone and then the quality of the app that your broker provides? And
Ches might be
up for either of you.
Yeah, I'll step in for this one. So there's a few different choices you have in this matter. Like you said, the quality of the app your broker can provide. Obviously we're not getting affiliates for recommending anybody to go anywhere for brokers, but a lot of people rave about Thinkorswim's mobile apps, and that's a large brokerage. They have a lot of money to kind of invest in building these, and people who trade on the go frequently really favor these. And in fact, if I'm laying in bed or out and about and I want to look at a chart, I actually use TD Ameritrade's Trader app because it's just so good and so easy to use. Do I use them to execute my trades? No, but they do make good solutions for people who are on the go. Now, in the same token, if you are either at a different computer or you have one of those larger, phones that have a big screen, you could do something like TeamViewer into your own computer at home. So I've actually TeamViewered from my old job to get into my computer and I would just kind of size the screen so that I would have my montage window or wherever I was executing my trades, and I could, watch the charting via, web charts or whatever I needed to do. But I think you are, for the most part, especially if, you're not going to look to get into the hassle of certain things, you're kind of at the mercy of your broker. Generally, the larger brokers, the more retail ones that can afford to do commercials and stuff like that, they make tools because they understand people are working. If you have a smaller brokerage, most of the times you're going to find that they don't even have a mobile app or a mobile website.
There's such a trade-off there, just thinking about it. Like you said, the companies that you see on Super Bowl commercials, they have those apps all right, but boy, oh boy, do they ding you when it comes to commissions. So, you're paying for it. So I like where your head was at, Ches, how you use Thinkorswims for the platform, for the information, but you use another broker to execute because that broker has much fairer fees. Is that did I understand that properly?
Yep. Yeah. You nailed it. They have the extra cash to kind of develop these bells and whistles for mobile traders. So I take advantage of it. I did have an account. I think I probably have like 7 cents in there, so I have live data, and so that to me, I'm completely able to kind of use that. But the larger ones, unfortunately, you are paying up for that. So people who do pay those commissions on the regular, they're the ones who are paying for us to get that convenience. So that's so thank you to all of you guys who use Thinkorswim for me.
Yeah, if you're out there paying $10 commissions, we all thank you, because there's better ways to do it. And the better way is still to use that information, but go find yourself a broker that's a little cheaper. But stay away from SureTrader. Would you agree with that one, Ches?
Stay away at all costs. I wasn't even going to give them the benefit of shouting them out at all. But whatever you do.
Oh, no, we're going to shout them out. But
I don't care wherever you are, wherever you live, whatever country, whatever situation you're in. Do not use them ever in your life. I'm going to get heated here and emotional and start screaming into my microphone. Just don't use them. I'm just going to leave it at that. Just don't use them.
And anybody that's telling you to use them, make sure that the link you're clicking on, my guess is it's some sort of affiliate link where if you sign up with them, they're getting paid. So, because I don't know how anybody can recommend them in their right mind unless they're getting paid. So if you want to go for it, by all means, go for it. But we'll just leave it at that, Ches. Does that sound like a good plan?
I'm just you've been warned. You can't come crying to me and say that you made a mistake.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, that wraps it up as far as the technology questions. Unless you have anything else for Nate, Ches?
I do not. I mean, I've been since a toddler on the computer, so you're the one who always needs Nate's help, not me.
That's true. That's true. I'm not proficient in 3.2 or whatever that system was. Nate, where can people find you if they have questions for you? Which I should know. If you do have questions, by all means, drop Nate. Some sort of carrier pigeon, email, snail mail, whatever you prefer. But where can they find you, Nate?
There's lots of options. Probably the best one is right on the contact form from claytrader.com. claytrader.com/contact. It's probably the best way to get a hold of us. I am the default option, so if you send an email and don't change the who it goes to option, it's coming to me. So you can talk to me. I'll be happy to answer your computer questions and talk to you about motherboards and processors and RAM and whatever the heck you want to talk about. I'm also on Twitter. Check that out occasionally. Donkey353. That's probably about all the places you can reach me. What was that again? Donkey353.
Donkey. All right. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
And it's not even spelled right. So it's just DONKY.
Is there any symbolism there? Because the word donkey, which could be called something else, is not spelled right. So am I reading too much into this? Or
probably not. I really don't know where that nickname came from, but
I think I may know, but I'll just that's for another time and another place. Well, Nate, thank you very much for taking time out of your day of coding the website and doing whatever else you're doing and sharing your wisdom with us.
Yeah, who knows? The chat room might be down right now or something. Nobody would know because we're all busy.
We have no idea right now. That's true. The site could have blown up, and it's all our fault for pulling you away from things. well, thank you again, and maybe we'll have to have you on again later on down the road as technology continues to develop.
I'll be around. You just let me know when. I'll show up.
Well, I hope everybody did enjoy the interview with Nate, and it's one of those things where we really do mean what we say in terms of reaching out and asking for help. You're not alone. I was sitting here a few times thinking, I'm not quite sure. I'm not following. For the people that are in the tech area, I'm sure that, that wouldn't be completely, meaningful, and, everybody would be able to understand that. But no worries, no shame if you want to reach out and ask some more questions. So again, you can go to claytrader.com, fill out that contact form, and that email will go straight to Nate. Or if you want to just shoot him an email straight up, you can just send that to nate@claytrader.com. And, like I said, he's more than willing to help and, try to walk you through any, computer things that you may be going through as you're on your little journey of building a nice little trading station. Because remember, this is a business. You have to invest into your business. So treat trading as a business and don't go and skimp out on the technology because, you're going to pay the price for it. A few things I'd like to just make a request of. If you are listening to this on iTunes, then please leave us a ranking for a couple of reasons. The reviews help with our searching, and then also it'll help us in terms of just feedback. What sorts of things are you looking for in the future? How could we help you out? So any sort of feedback there and reviews truly are appreciated. If you're listening to this on claytrader.com, please click one of those share buttons and comment below. We really do like to interact. So if you leave a comment down in the discussion area, Ches and I, will interact with you, and even Nate. So I suppose that's another area for questions. Probably the best area for questions because that way we can at least get a public dialogue going of those questions. So really, preferable area for those questions would be the claytrader.com, and then go to podcast and find episode 3 and leave that question down in the discussion areas. If you still want to just personally contact them, that's fine too. But at least with those comments, it is there for everybody to see. So thank you for listening, and everybody have a great one.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.